Just let me get things set up here. Greetings, everybody, every pony, everywhere. This is Babble with Bronies. This is episode 10. How the heck is everyone? Well, just Mr. Ben in this case, I see. That's okay. I've got a lot of things to talk about, and I'm really hoping to get a lot of things squared away here. Gotta get rid of some of this. Can you see me? Before we get started, I just need to check to make sure everything's okay. Alright, here we go. Okay, good. Alright, got a lot of big announcements on my end, on this show's end, and on just the pony world in general. I think I'm gonna, to be honest, folks, I think daylight savings time is not playing to my advantage. I.e., why do I get the distinct impression no one's here because of daylight savings time? Yeah, I'm kind of joining the craze of, why do we have it? Shouldn't we just end it? Or, yeah, Mr. Ben, maybe it's just me. Who knows, yeah. No, not that. Anyway, I'm going to get started with the announcements on my end. I always like to do those first. The next 4 weeks on here, pretty hectic. I'm already just going to say that they're going to be pretty big. There's Hawaii too, Mr. Ben. This is just what I'm planning for the next 4 weeks, folks. Next week, March 24th, is going to be normal. It's going to be, just fine. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm thinking we might do a prep for the upcoming interviews we're going to be having the following weekend. Did I say interviews, plural? Yes, I did. But we'll get to that in a second. So anyway, March 24th, like I said, it'll be normal. I'm thinking some prep for the interviews coming up the following week. Or I might do some light topic with that, or something. I'll think of something. I need to go over my ideas page. We'll see. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second, Mr. Ben. Where was I? Oh yeah, the 24th or the 31st. I'm looking at 2 interviews on 2 consecutive days. I've contacted 2 people who I'd like to interview, and they said the first one sounds like it's good for the 31st of March. So we're gonna hold one interview then. I think that one's gonna go, fairly normally. The next one will be held on the next day, April 1st. And on that one, I'm not going to have any news or, anything special there. That one's just going to be the interview. That one will count as the next consecutive episode because the 24th I was planning on doing that first interview on the 31st. So it had been the 24th one interview and the 31st one interview. That was what I was hoping. Didn't work out that way, but hey, I'm flexible. I can make it work. But anyway, we've got the 24th is normal. The 31st we'll have one interview. I've already contacted the guy. It sounds like it's good. The first, like I said, that'll be just the interview. Join us then. I'm planning on making this a pretty big weekend. I'm really looking forward to it, and all I can say is I don't know which interview to pick as which one's going to be the best, but we'll see. The 7th, April 7th, that weekend is up in the air. I need to talk with some people about what's going on that weekend. And I just need to get a lot of things, personal things, squared away but that one we may or may not have. It's about I'd say 70-30% chance of us having it, but we'll see. And then the following one, the 14th, April 14th, I'm looking at at yet another interview. That one I'm looking towards as the Brony State redo, but I have yet to hear back from them. I know they take some time. Last time I got things set up with them, it took a while for them to respond, so I'm fine with it. And that's also why I did it. I planned it this far out, so I'll hear from them. I know I will. And there's some other Brony State news I'll talk about, but we'll get there when we get there. So if I haven't recapped enough, March 24th will be normal. March 31st and April 1st, there's going to be 2 interviews on those 2 days, or 1 interview each day. April 7th is an unknown. I can probably have an answer for you by next episode, but we'll see. When I'm dealing with these people, it can be a little messy. And then the 14th, April 14th, is looking at Brony State Part 2. But like I said, I have yet to hear from them. I'm sure I'll hear from them. But worst case, I just have to send them another email when I'm done. And I believe that is, let me think. I'm really hoping to get some of these little pet projects I've been promising you guys done, like getting episodes 0 through 4 up on my Netflix live stream account. I just need to write post-it notes. It really sucks being lazy like I am, folks. I just wish this was a little easier some days. I really do. Mr. Ben, I wouldn't worry. Well, we'll see how that works out. May's going to be a bit of a weird month as well, but we'll see from there on out. But we'll get there when we get there. We're only about halfway through March here. So I got those pet projects, like I said, and what else? I'm hoping to redesign the homepage a little bit, but just, fluff it up a little bit. But with that, we can move into the news. I got quite a bit of news here. We've got, which one to start with? Oh, why don't I start with the Brony State news? I always like what they have to say. Apparently, one of their new moderators, Scootaloo, he's a new mod. He's got a little contest going on. Check out this, or maybe not a contest in so much a proposal, or he wants help from the community anyway. Check this out. Apparently what was it he was asking for? He was asking for essentially stories to set. He was asking for stories of people, their Brony experience, maybe like an interesting story they have to tell, or why they like this fan base so much, or it's kind of an analysis of and a personal reflection of you. Check it out. I don't have the article, the original article, but it was in the newsletter. That's it. So if you subscribe to the Brony State newsletter, you'll find it. Which, if you haven't, check it out. It's really a great one to subscribe to. What's nice is they keep all their links on there, so you don't have to go to their website and then grab it. Apparently, there's a couple things with Nittany Discord. I hope that's how you're pronouncing it. If you're watching this Discord, my apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong. apparently he's, much like Octavia a couple weeks ago, he too is suffering from some financial troubles. And apparently this one just won't go away. Check this out. Here's the fundraiser for him. If you got a little money, send it to him. I think all of us would be appreciated. For some reason, these tabs are not leaving. Yeah, I'm with you there, Mr. Ben. I'm about as broke as can be, too. I would love to donate, but my dollar, too, much like Nittany Discord there, is stretched. So I apologize. But speaking of Nittany Discord, let's see here. He is running a special gaming contest with none other than Rob Cackerin 93 tomorrow. This would be Sunday, March 18th at 5 p.m. Check it out. At 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Apparently they'll be playing a Counter-Strike Source. I hope that's the game. I know CS Counter-Strike, and Left 4 Dead 2. They'll be playing with, like I said, Rob Cackerin 93 at 5 p.m. tomorrow, March 18th. 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget about Daylight Savings Time being in effect, folks. We were discussing, funny story, we were in, I was watching the new episode just today, and everyone was like, what did they say? They were like, so how many people are going to be late or, about an hour late because of Daylight Savings Time? And we said, enough. There was about 4,700 people there, and I wouldn't have been surprised if we missed about maybe 300, anywhere between 300 and another 1,000 who missed it because of Daylight Savings Time. Let me put it this way, Mr. Ben. I'll give you my impression of this new episode. I loved it. I loved it a lot for a lot of reasons. It was a great episode. Why do you not close? I think I know why. Just a moment, folks. It's like we always say on here. It's always the little technical things, isn't it? Was there a slime? No, I know what you mean. Very, very clever. But no, there wasn't. I wish, because that would have been funny. But try and get some things back up here. Yeah, no slime. So unfortunately, okay, we're good. We're good now. So yeah, we couldn't make any Dragon Quest jokes. But to be honest, I think there was a Tom and Jerry reference in there. Because I'm not going to spoil it, but if you watch a lot of Tom and Jerry like I did and still do, you'll recognize it when you see it. It was, if that's what they were referencing, then sweet. All right. Did we talk about the Traveling Pony Museum at all? I don't know if we did or not, and it's kind of a shame because I think we did, but here's our website. Apparently they're just as it sounds, the Traveling Pony Museum. It's more focused on art, so that means that. Well, I'll do a quick recap, Mr. Ben. Like I said, it goes around, sells art, or not sells, displays the best of the art, or art anyway. And you can submit it to them. It goes places. If it's physical, it's tangible. people can see it. It's a fantastic idea. I absolutely love this concept. I'm hoping maybe I can get these guys on here one of these days. They're probably going to be further in the future than I could think, but it's definitely something I wish to keep my eyes on. I'll tell you that right now. Well, that I don't know, Mr. Ben. I honestly don't know. One thing I will make note about them, though, is they are running a charity raffle. Get this. You can... Here's their link. Get this. They are raising money to help benefit Inked, Art for Africa, and the Traveling Pony Museum in order for... I'll quote it. Quote, "This charity raffle is going to help benefit Inked, Art for Africa, and the Traveling Pony Museum and raise funding in order for the museum to be able to make its debut this summer. The prizes for the charity raffle include monetary donations to the Inked Art for Africa fundraiser, headed by none other than Scootaloo's voice actor, Maddie Peters. Yada, yada, yada. Raffle tickets are $10. You have to purchase one to enter. Blah, blah, blah. The drawing will take place May 1st of this year. And here are the prizes. 15 prize winners will be assigned. By the way, you need to submit like your ponified name, because 15 prize winners will be assigned a $10 donation to the Inked Art for Africa with their name displayed on the donation page comments, unless requested otherwise. Additional prizes will be drawn for these 15 winners. They'll include unopened blind bags, posters of artwork featured in their museum, custom sculptures, custom ponies, and more. Blah, blah, blah. One first prize winner will be assigned a $50 donation to the same charity, as well as all 5 museum posters, a random set of blind bags, custom 11-inch Derpy plushie by one Evil Sugar. Haven't a clue. I'll look them up on DeviantArt at some point. And one grand prize winner, this one is the best one, will receive an all-expense-paid trip to either BronyCon in June or the Everfree Northwest in August. All expenses paid. So if you're like me, you'll do like what Bart Simpson did in Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington and get a massage therapist while you get and give him a $20 tip. That was a good episode. But anyway, all expenses to either one. Send in about 1 million postcards to win that hat. Oh, Mr. Ben, you always make me laugh. In a good way. I'll note that. Let's see here. That's what I forgot. Give me a moment, folks. I got something for you. There we go. Okay, I'm back, folks. Some days. Anyway, we've got dinner. For those of you who ordered the Friendship Express DVD, bam! They are sending out replacements, the Shout Factory, because I don't know if I know this is really old news, but I'm saying this because it has affected me. If you watch episode 1, the first episode on their list, that is Friendship is Magic Part 1, the pilot. They've got some audio sync issues, and yeah, I checked in on that. long story short, they're sending out replacements. I've already got my replacements sent out. Now it's just a matter of waiting for it to get here. So I'm going to have an errored version and a fixed version. Turns out, but it sounds like people are saying that that Derpy's episode, the last roundup, is just fine. If anything, if it's I was just making note of that, but Mr. Ben, too many M's. If anything, if the fixed version is, even if the fixed version has altered Derpy, at least I've still got her unaltered. I had about a couple bucks in my Amazon account. That alone was worth it. Good deal. Before I forget, all that's required to send it in is just send the Shout Factory an email with a proof of purchase, like if you have a receipt, or I used my order number. But I think they said there were some others. I sent them some info. Let me pull that up for you guys. You know what? You guys, like I said, some proof of purchase. Like I said, I used my order number and that worked. Just send them your order number or proof of purchase and a mailing address, and they'll get it to you. And yeah, we're all waiting for a full box season, but then again, who isn't? This was apparently just after. Now I'm going to move on to the new episodes coming out here, folks. We all know next week, Hurricane Fluttershy is the next episode. Derpy Hooves. Let me. Just a second. DerpyHoovesNews.com. That's the name of the site. Apparently there was they got a preview commercial that aired not long after Dragon Quest was over. I couldn't stay, and Brony State closed the chat down when that noise is my someone signing in. I apologize. On Skype. If only. Anyway, apparently there was a preview commercial that was aired after Dragon Quest here, the newest episode. But like I said, I didn't get the chance to see it because after the new episode, Brony State shuts that stream off and goes to. Wait, no, they didn't. They played the next. They kept playing. I had to leave because I had to get ready for this show. So I apologize. Bloody ants. Anyway, check it out. It was a good clip. I liked it. The music, I think, kind of overkills it. I.e., we're going to be expecting that music, and we're going to be all pumped for it and whatnot. Who knows? Yeah, I know EQD has it, but I hate to just use all sources from there. Besides, sometimes it's a little better to go to the actual source itself and post it on there. You guys don't have to wade through you don't have to wade through anything. What else do we have to announce? Y'all, next episode. The episode after Hurricane Fluttershy is Ponyville Confidential. Pony Lakes has a nice article on it. A little better because they have the original synopsis and the extended synopsis on it. So check it out. Why do I get the feeling, folks, that this one there's going to be some secrets revealed? Like, I don't know, just something decent is going to be revealed. Sure, it's just, secrets and lies type of thing with an emphasis on the lies part. But I get the feeling that someone's deep dark secret might be let out. Something that will just get ugly. I hope that if anything, yeah, we already knew that. Seriously, you're gonna love. How do I put this? Mr. Ben, when we get done here, go watch the new episode. You're gonna thank me later. I promise you that. Where was I? Oh yeah, and then the episode after that is the Mystery on the Friendship Express. I hope that with the 3 M's that you're supposed to elongate it. Via Pony Leaks again. Here we go. A cake Pinkie Pie is guarding for a contest is ruined on the way to Canterlot, and an investigation begins. Why do I get the feeling that we're going to see Pinkie in a old English mystery Sherlock Holmes-esque hat, snooping around that train? Like who was it? Like Inspector Gadget? That's who. They're going to be focusing on the wrong stuff, or perhaps either the wrong stuff or too in depth on a pointless piece of evidence. But somehow they'll find some way of solving it. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. I like a good mystery, which is probably why I like too much Doctor Who, but hey, I digress. Go Pinkie Copter. Or it would come out something else like, I don't know, a parasol or a siren light or a light, a flashing light. Something like that anyway. But yeah, the amount of the stuff they could get away with in terms of this is, I'm looking forward to it just because of all that. All that, I say. All right. Can't believe I just did that. Mr. Ben, you'd make me do the silliest things. You know that? All right, moving on. We've got the season finale. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. We got the season finale here called A Canterlot Wedding. Make sure I got everything correct here. Now, where was it I was going to say? Oh, yes. This was an older article in Pony Leaks. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I know we haven't discussed it. You know, I've said what we were going to do when the season finale comes around, but we haven't gotten to the we haven't actually gotten a synopsis or anything. But what it's looking like is that's their older article. Now there's something I want to bring up here. In the article, the Pony Leaks article, it says the air date given is April 21st, end quote. Now I bring this up because they have a later article. This one is more or less just a rumor. He got it via, as he quotes, someone named Jesse sent EQD what appears to be a confirmation that the title of the last 2 episodes given is A Canterlot Wedding. Whether that means it's, 1 part, 2 part, or they'll have different titles. The article doesn't say, and I don't know. But I bring up the air date when they said April 21st because personally folks, I think what we're going to get is it'll start on the 21st. Here's a new article, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we get April 14th is a gap. It's a just that we're going We're going to be left without a new episode that week. Could I be wrong? But I wouldn't be surprised if we get that gap and then the 2-part finale. And I say this because of whatever reason, but I wouldn't be surprised if they either wanted to get things a little closer to last season's finale, season 1, which ended May 5th. If I recall right, it was right around the start of May. So they would kind of want to end a little earlier. I could be wrong. Maybe they just wanted more time to get things done. Or who knows? Yeah, Mr. Ben, Lesson 0 had a week-long gap before it was aired. But who knows? What else was it I was going to say? Oh, but if it is the end date, if the end date is the 21st, it's that's the last day, or the season, the actual season finale, the second part, then who knows? Some days. What else? I gave you that. This one's cute. Apparently, Amy Keating Rogers, there's a bit of a... Did you see this article, folks? It's a really good one. Yeah, Mr. Ben, before I move on, folks, I want to get Mr. Ben's statement out of the way here. I think they are. Here's this article in this new one. I just want to post it to get my mouse out of there. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be like Return of Harmony. Part 1's one Saturday. Part 2 is the next Saturday. But because I have a hard time believing they would do that. I have a hard time believing they would. I have a hard time believing they would have two separate, or they would put the two together. That's a lot of work on what I can guess from an animation perspective. That's a heavy strain. But I could be wrong. Anyway, it keeps us guessing, if anything. Anyway, moving on to this article I found. Amy Keating Rogers, apparently she's making this documentary about, quote, she's making a documentary, quote, about an absolutely crazy occurrence from her life in an attempt to raise funds for her handicapped son, Soren, end quote. Now, apparently, unfortunately, she's going through some legal problems, and where is it? Yeah, quote, the copyright monsters are holding back her documentary due to a few scenes borrowed from actual shows and animation. Yeah, end quote, by the way. Yeah, Mr. Ben, I'm with you on that one. The man is trying to keep her down, man. Apparently, it sounds like the only thing that's really... It sounds like there's some money in it, i.e. if she got enough money to buy a pass or something, she could get it done. But, I haven't quite caught most of these details. Yeah, I don't have clearance, quote, from Amy herself. I don't have clearance to use these images, and it is very stressed, costly, and complicated. I tried to get the film picked for distribution. That way they could pay for the clearances. However, anyone that picks up a film and puts money in it wants to make sure they not only make their money back, but also a profit. Duh. And while everyone really enjoys my cute, sweet film, it's really a niche market, and getting back that investment isn't a guarantee. End quote. Take a look at that article, and then take a look at that video clip at the bottom. That video clip alone has sold me. So, to be completely honest, I'd buy it. It's a really funny. She's put a little song to it. That alone is funny. The song itself, and of course her, hold that thought, Mr. Ben. Where was I? Oh yes. Just check out the video. It's really funny, folks. Mr. Ben, I'm gonna read your post here. Yeah, copyright is. I'm with you on that one. It's nobody wants to go through that, but hey, if you want your stuff to get. Why did you do that? Nobody likes going through that junk, but but if you want to get your stuff out there, you're going to have to. It's ugly. It's ugly business, and no one likes it. I agree, but to raise a little money for your handicapped son by doing this when you're pretty darn popular, it's not a bad thing. Not bad at all. But yeah, you were trying to relate it back to Sopa Pipa. Yeah, it's unfortunately we don't live in a world of honesty, so copyright's important in a society. I want to make that very clear that copyright is important, but sometimes there's some, especially in such an area, there's so much gray area. I don't think she wants to infringe or hurt the sources in any way, but in that same breath, if for some reason whoever holds the copyright to those clips doesn't want them shown, again, for whatever reason, it could be just, I just don't want to, then that's their business. It's their product. Some days, folks, this world is ugly. And where was I? Speaking of charities and helping people, yeah, piece of junk. Oi. I'm just trying to click to different windows and it's doing this. Alright, let's get back on track here. So, like I said, speaking of charities and whatnot, there is a guy running a little deal called A Helping Hoof. It kind of runs Mr. Ben, you're taking the words right out of my mouth now. check this out. It's apparently this guy is kind of running the same thing as Nittany Discord. He's asking for stories of how this show has done good to you, what you've done for the show out of good, that kind of stuff. Check it out. It's if anything, it's just worth your time, and I just wanted to bring that to attention. You're right, Mr. Ben. It is Scootaloo. I even have it written in my notes. It's not Nittany Discord, folks. It's Scootaloo who is looking for these articles. If it's not one thing, so I just want to say that again. Scootaloo's article is what you should be looking at. Nittany Discord is in a financial dilemma and is gaming tomorrow. These two have absolutely nothing in common, except that they're on Brony State. Ugh. Have I been away that long? Because that's about what it feels like. I just have a couple more things to talk about. For all of you shoppers out there, who collect the toys and whatnot, apparently they got the wedding ponies down at Kmart. Good luck finding a Kmart, I'll tell you that much. Okay, to be fair, there is one where I currently am, and I don't live that far from one. So I'll shut up on that. Anyway, if you're into the larger figurines like these are, that's what these are. These are, well, just the larger figurines. They're not the blind bags. That's what I'm trying to say is they aren't blind bag big. And one last thing, speaking of the toys, there's some new blind bags out. Here is your link. And about the only, one of the things that I liked the most when I read this little article is, they said Lyra Heartstrings. If you recall, there was I don't know what to call it, Generation 2 maybe, or the last time she was in here, she was just called Heartstrings. So kudos to the fan base. We originally called her Lyra. The blind bags called her Heartstrings. And I really like this story, folks. We, as the fan base, I was following this since it began. Some said Lyra, some said Heartstrings. A couple of them suggested, why not both? Lyra Heartstrings as first and last name. And now we have this. This is for you guys. Victory sip. Oh, and apparently there was a couple other ones, they've got alicorns in there now. I think let me check this again. Yeah, they have them all in there, and they have all three known alicorns at this point. And someone, I don't know, I think Luna looks off just a little bit, but I think it's that purple in her mane that just offsets it. But Princess Celestia and Cadence look stunning. They look really good, for these blind bags. Now, check out, folks, in this article, the Fluttershy. Yeah, there's a Fluttershy one in here. I was looking at something on there. There was a unicorn that had Fluttershy's coloring, so you'll have to forgive me. But the Fluttershy that they have on here is all yellow, except her eyes. All I have to say is, Mr. Ben, I like that. I like that. So I was going to complain that, poor Fluttershy, she either looks like a Rainbow Dash recolor or she's all yellow. Can they not get her right? But I like that better. I like that a lot better. And considering episode 19, that, season 2, episode 19, I find that very appropriate. And with that, I am all out of topics, in news and whatnot. Yeah, I'm finished. So now comes the fun part, folks, where we move into the topic at hand. As I stated earlier, in episode 5, we discussed the fandom. We went through it. We asked about how much good it was, what we liked about it. But I never recall doing anything with the show itself, Friendship is Magic itself. So I'm more than happy to remedy this situation. To be honest, episode 9, BwB episode 9, was going to be this, but I thought, those conspiracy theories were so much fun. We're going to move. I thought, episode 9 will just be a continuation of that. That one was fun. Now, this one is just going to be a generalized. We're moving on now to analyze the show. Now, I'm going to keep a few things clear. I'm personally going to avoid the fan base as much as possible, or at least in the sense of I'm not going to talk about the fandom because we've already done that. What else? I think that's it. So if you want to bring up something in the fandom that's relevant to this topic, knock yourself out. But like I said, I'm only going to worry about the show itself. And I think I've got about about a page worth of notes on stuff I'd like to say. And I think I'm going to start outside of the show's universe. I'm going to work more on I'm going to start with the staff. One of the notes I said is, they love us. It's so blatantly obvious, but that's one of the things that I love about this show. And the moment I got into it and started doing a little research on, say, background ponies or, things like some of the adult humor in it, or, if I hate to use that term adult humor because, what does that sound like? But the point is, a lot of the staff, I love it how even in the early episodes there were jokes only the adults would see, and how as time has gone on they only got more, you could say, creative, or they threw more in or something anyway. But I love it. I absolutely love that the staff is well aware of who they're catering to. If anything, I love how in the beginning they catered, they never said to just the 3 to 6 year old audience. And yeah, I know I'm kind of repeating a lot of things here. A warning for all of you, I'm going to be parroting. I'm going to repeat that again. A lot of things, and yeah, Mr. Ben, I like your point there. I especially like your later point where you said the double entendres were, hope I'm pronouncing that correct, the double entendres were extremely minimized. About the crikey, about the dirtiest joke in this show is the punch has been spiked, and that's not even I guess, for lack of better terms, it's not sexual. It's adult, yes, but that's your dirtiest joke in there, and you're still making me, you, others laugh. You've got to be doing something right. I always enjoy humor that doesn't have to resort to petty, dirty, sexual, or just downright offensive humor. Now, yeah, crikey, I watch a lot of YouTube poops. And if you've never seen a YouTube poop, just check out my channel. I'll throw it on there or something, or just search YouTube poop, search the most popular stuff. And while there are artists out there in the YouTube poop community who do make, it's its own art style. Some of them don't use many dirty jokes, and on the other end of the spectrum, there are those who use a lot of dirty jokes. And I laugh at those who use a lot of dirty humor, and I laugh at, it's not a humor-based thing. YouTube poop isn't a humor-based thing, but for those of them who are striving for humor, for those that are striving for humor, I've laughed at dirty jokes, dirty poops, and clean poops. So I just want to make that clear more than anything. Yeah, I agree. A lot of the humor here, and again, this is kind of what I really like about what they do with a lot of the show itself. The humor is heavily drawn from character interactions, smart dialogue, or at least dialogue that is funny. It will, again, it's not dirty or cheap. It likes to, it draws a lot, especially a lot of the physical humor is drawn from classic, 50s, 60s animation, growing up with that stuff. Awesome. And a lot of the humor, the more of the vocal or verbal humor, I find that comes just because someone, one of the writers, or I guess it could be anyone on the staff, but I like to think it's the writers in particular, because someone has the brains of saying, of knowing what can work. Yeah, the duck season, rabbit season thing, that I spotted that right away, even though I noticed, even though I saw the episode, I saw some of the art and fan work after, or before I saw the episode, but I would have picked up on that easily. But see, that stuff is funny. I love that stuff. I love that they're able to draw from this old stuff, because that was actually funny. Why do I say that was actually funny? Take a look at some other shows nowadays. Some of these more modern shows where they still might have, they might be very violent, cartoony, or whatnot. Like, oh, what's a good one to think of? I don't know, just pick any modern cartoon, not FIM. A lot of the violence in there that I find, it might be funny, but it's just not the same. Because, well, here's the thing about Ren and Stimpy, Mr. Ben. Ren and Stimpy was actually decent. I remember watching that, and I remember enjoying it. That's just it. It's kind of in its own world. And now I'm talking about, think 2000 and beyond. Most of the humor just seems so, for lack of a better term, forced. And it's just like, they're just hitting each other because it's just, laugh at me. Why? Why should I do that? I could talk about Family Guy, Mr. Ben. I could go on a triad on it, but okay, why don't I use that example? the things that I don't like about family, you know what? I feel like I'm going to be derailing here. I'm going to be derailing here, so I kind of want to get back on topic. And what I was talking about was, the staff itself. I've discussed that what they throw into the content of the show. And more than anything, what I like is that the staff, they're not only aware of us, especially the Brony community, but one of the things that I really, really like about them is the fact that they still interact with us. They not only know the Brony community exists, but they still interact with us. They go to our conventions that someone in the Brony community sets up. They just said, I'm going to make a BronyCon, and, sure, they have to, the coordinator and coordinators have to jump through legal hoops and other whatnots to get the actor, the supervisor, Lauren Faust, whoever. They have to, jump through all those legal hoops and whatnot to do it. But here's the thing: you do realize that a lot of the staff members, they could always say no. Even granted permission from Hasbro, the staff could say, no, I just don't want to. And yet, many, 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 many times they're going to these conventions. They're going to even non-pony conventions. Maybe because it's, not pony related, but whatever. They still go there. They're still happy for us. I think that's just... I've never heard of that before. Sorry about this, folks. Later. It's like everything on my desktop is trying to jump in and get on the show. Case in point, Exhibit A, Mr. Ben. I don't know if I've said this before or not, folks, but I've never seen a show, I suppose I could say, a show be so loving of its audience. Mind you, we're not the supposed usual audience of this show, but I digress. We've already discussed that. But I've never seen a show's staff so love its fans the way this show has. Is that a little better? I've never seen that before. So to be part of this fandom where that only makes me want to watch the show even more. It only makes me say, they love us, so why should I can watch this show because I love them. That's what I want to say. Now I kind of want to move on to, so the staff gives us this show, and I kind of want to talk about the characters that they've developed, because that's kind of, I'm trying to start from point A and move in a logical standpoint, so bear with me. Let's look at these characters that they've given us. We've got mostly, even when I first started watching this show, and can't talk, sorry about that. Most of these characters might fall under an archetype, but archetypes aren't bad. Let me state that. Archetypes are not inherently, they're not, kind of depends on it, but again, I digress. But even when I started watching this show, I kind of had a hunch that these characters weren't going to be static. And that's one of the greatest things that I applaud this staff for in particular. Because I've seen plenty of shows where and kind of depends on the show, so it falls under, is the character like this? It depends on the type of show, because, for instance, Doctor Who they don't develop their characters a lot. You might get bits and pieces of character development, and, fantastic, but that's not what the show's about. But I'm digressing here. The point I'm trying to get back is, in a slice of life show in particular, you need dynamic characters. More than anything in the world, in a slice of life show, you need dynamic characters, and this show provides them beautifully. When I started watching this show, they, as I said, the characters were they followed an archetype, and they were anywhere between 2 and 3 dimensional. I knew, it's only the first or second episode, so there will be time for growth. But as you went further down the list, you realized they have this little perk, this little trait, this little anything. We'll talk about the background characters in a sec, Mr. Ben. Just the main 6 alone, they start becoming more dynamic. I love the way CR put it in his analysis of Gen 4. He said, just when you think you have these characters nailed down, something comes along and does a complete 180 on you. 360 is worthless. They do a complete 180 on you. Look at me. I did not care that much for Rarity in the beginning. Now, she's my second favorite character. Let me give you a picture of how to do that, folks, or what that means, folks. Most shows that I've seen, that have a character like Rarity, they rarely ever get past, they rarely rise on my list. If they do, it's only maybe like 1 or 2 points. For a show, and again, this is why I applaud the show a lot, for Rarity to go from the bottom of my list of just the main 6 all the way to number 2, you would have better have given me some pretty damn good character development to do that. And they did. It still to this day makes me happy that I think that. I love it so much. No, Mr. Ben. It was far, far earlier. That whole Rarity moving up my list, that was a little earlier. And we'll get there when we get to the episode analysis in the summer. You'll know it when you see it. I promise you that. But, no, even earlier. There's a reason Season 1, Episode 19 is my favorite. Now, where was I? And shoot, I'll just say this right now about the characters. Even the ones that are on the bottom of my list, you can still like them, still love them. They can still be... Again, this is what I love so much about the show, is the characters are so dynamic. Again, they may follow a general archetype, but what I really am enjoying, especially in Season 2 here, is how they're keeping some of this continuity going. And you wonder, is this lesson that they learned a few episodes ago, or last time an episode was centered around them, is there going to be some continuity? And I realized, what they said, what was it they said? That each episode was needed to be written as if this was some new guy's first episode. But just because of that, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't keep some things. That doesn't mean there can't be some continuity. That's what I'm trying to say. And fans love continuity. I love continuity. I know Mr. Ben is going to say, I love continuity. But I like that they keep tabs on that, because it makes the characters that more three-dimensional, and it makes them that more lovable. You didn't even have to say the LOLJK part, Mr. Ben. I knew you were going to. I knew you were going to say that. But just to reiterate, these characters were already fairly fleshed out when we met them, and the what we're getting, even in season 1 itself, and I guess from what we've been getting, this is up to season 2, episode 21 right now, folks. This episode, just to date it. My word, the fleshing out that we've gotten is just, it still to this day blows my mind, because let's ignore some of the we can even ignore some of the continuity here. If each episode itself was just a standalone, there was no continuity in it, or at least very little, these characters are still very well developed, and they continue to get well developed. I think that only goes to a testament of the writing and, well, just the staff in general, that I like to think they care about these characters, that they want these characters to be well made. And of course, what good are the characters, though, without the world they live in? We're moving on to Equestria, the world. Well, it certainly would be a little weird if that were the case, Mr. Ben. But like I said, what I do like is that they keep there's some pieces of continuity that they keep. Because you never know when you're going to need something. So the point I'm trying to make is you never know when something might come up again, but it's nice to have it. So why would you ever get rid of it? And then where was I? Oh yeah, so we have Equestria, the world. What a world they fleshed out. I keep using the phrase. I apologize, folks. How do I want to start this one? To analyze this world is I think a lot of people do there, Mr. Ben. I would like it. It's not high on my list of things I'd want to see again, but just because it's high doesn't mean it's low. I'll stress that. However, I'd like to see him, yes, let's just go with that. But anyway, let's talk about now Equestria, the world. It's this place. I'm having a little trouble starting it, because where do I begin? It's a bit of a fantasy. We know it's a fantasy world. One with magic, where the sun and the moon have to be raised by magic. So how does that work? I mean, what happens if someone just took the day off, or decided, well, okay, we all know where that does go, but like I said, I'm just curious how they panic. I think that's the best way of putting it. But we've got a world where the sun and the moon they have to be raised by magic. It's heavily based on Greek mythology. We've got, all sorts of things like manticores, cockatrices, minotaurs, that latter one, of course, being sentient and sapient. We've got this world just continues to be made ever more strangely, we have electricity in there, as we should expect, but at the same time we've got magic. There's science, yet there is a lot of fantasy in it. And I think what I really have to say is they balance it. They do a fairly decent job of balancing that. I know we've got places like Tartarus, but before, I just want to stress, folks, I don't think Tartarus is the essentially the underworld. From what they were giving us there, I think they were saying that it was some sort of just prison for extraordinary and extremely evil monsters. So I could be wrong. It very well could be their underworld, and it very well could be. We'll get to that in a second, Mr. Ben. So I just want to stress that I think Tartarus, is it's just a prison for monsters. It's not necessarily the underworld. Now, Mr. Ben, to get to your point, yeah, that one is kind of a weird one, because and I think transportation here is kind of the biggest perhaps transportation, that's, like I said, that's one of the biggest oddities of this world, and something certainly worth discussing. Now, yeah, anyone who knows anything about horses know that they can, they're used for they were used for travel, and in some cases still are. They have things like those carts and taxi carts that people pull, and then they have trains, which are, we've seen one version where they're powered by horses pulling them, well, ponies, I will specify. And then there are other cases where they've been on a train propelled by what I presume to be steam and or coal. Steam. And in that regard, we've also got huge airships. I can understand why they chose not to put, say, things like cars and whatnot, because you put cars and TV are probably the two things in this universe that we will never see, and I personally hope we don't, because what does a car say that they can the car killed the horse as a mode of transportation? That's what I'm trying to say here. If we brought a car in there, it would render a lot of those characters worthless, and it would really outdate them. It'd be weird, I know, but that's what I feel would happen. And if we had TV in there, well, what could that have? Before anyone says, yes, I know they brought video games in there, but I think that fell under that clause of the staff that they said the technology is needed to work. It's only as advanced as they need it to be. It's not as advanced as it could be. So the point I'm trying to make is, if we introduce television, Mr. Ben, I like that. AJ driving her pink truck in the show, complete with Twilight Sparkle cardboard cutout. Oh. And anyway, back to my subject on television. I think the biggest issue with television is, I don't know how to put this. The biggest problem I find with television is that, and yes, I know that clip just showed a projector, or that clip I showed you earlier of Hurricane Fluttershy, that one does contain a projector. But there are, they could use old slide cutout ones, or like those old ones you see in like you see in some old shows and whatnot. But I digress. Anyway, they what I think the biggest issue with TV is, I guess you could say, it's the, next to the internet nowadays, it's the center point of modern, for lack of a better term, modern life. And they want to, what they're going for in this show is more of a fantasy life. And so imagine trying to, so imagine putting that which is of the modern world, our world, into a realm of fantasy. That television is going to kill, that's going to kill that feeling instantaneously. It would just shatter the illusion, for lack of better terms. Now, before, I hate to kind of change the subject a little bit here, but speaking of, maybe not necessarily Mr. Ben, but I do agree in the sense of, this way the potential of couch potatoes is eliminated. The pony sitting around watching TV. There are some shows that would beg to differ, but then again, they wouldn't involve ponies. But speaking of this world being a fantasy world, there is one thing I want to bring up that I think is just, it's really worth bringing up again. It's this world, one of the things that I really applaud the creators and the staff on this show about is that this world itself, it's a happy world. I know a lot of people say that they wish there was a real life Equestria. But I don't think they were looking for Equestria in the sense of, the place itself. I think they're more looking for the idea. And I think Scootaloo pointed that out in his article. Again, go ahead and read that, folks. But what people want is this world not completely devoid of pain, but one of the things that I want to give credit to the staff and the creators is, while this world is a fantasy world, this world is a very happy world. It is not by any means completely free of pain. You want a happy world completely free of pain? Look at a certain previous generation of My Little Pony. There you will find a world devoid of pain. And when you devoid this world of pain, you devoid it of all believability. And of course, this would translate to a lack of conflict, which would translate even further to a lack of stories, which, that would kill the show flat. But they gave us a very good balance of believability in this world, because unlike our world, which I'm going to be a little subjective here, folks, forgive me for that. In this world, anyone who's lived in it for more than 15 years, maybe a little less, 13 maybe, when they actually start kind of getting out into the world, you start experiencing it, you realize how grim and painful it is. How many of you, for those of you who are going to be watching this show in the future, how many of you go to My Little Pony, whether it be the show or even say fan-made things like art, or you watch a video with them, a happy video? How many of you get a good feeling in the center of your chest, or even in the pit of your stomach? I ask because I do. When I start watching this show, I go to this world, Equestria. And in this world, I realize how reverse of it is to this world. Out there is just, for lack of better terms, pain, evil. or something like that. You pick your favorite word here of a negative emotion. There is very little happiness otherwise. Now go to this world, Equestria. And even, I could expand this out to the fandom, and I know I've discussed this, but it's worth bringing up again. But go to Equestria now. People are happy there. Or the ponies, I should say. The people are happy there. They know there's pain. They're well aware of it. But ultimately, for people like me who live a lonely life and see the pain in that world, it's a refreshment to come to a place where the people are happy and, more importantly, accepting of you. How so, Mr. Ben? You're there for a reason. What do you mean by that? Finish typing, or type that up, and I'm going to just add. So again, I applaud the staff for coming up with this world that is happy, free of a lot of the evils of our world. Okay. Free of a lot of the evils of our world, but not completely devoid of it. Because like I said earlier, you want a world completely devoid of pain. Look at the previous generation, where I've seen, not proud to admit this, but this was via Brony State. This was around Christmas. They showed us the some Gen 3 Christmas special, and it just wasn't believable. It was way too or it was like the regular ones. It was like I said, it was a Christmas special. I only saw the last half of it because I think this was just before I went home for Christmas break, but I don't remember. The point I'm trying to make is it was like I said, it was nearly devoid of pain. There was no struggle. There was no, it was just, they went to this dragon to get a star, the wishing star. I think that was the title of it. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. And they didn't get the star, but they realized, they still got what they wanted. And the dragon eventually returned the star, and it was all happy-go-lucky. I admit it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it certainly wasn't. It certainly wasn't Generation 4. Duh. But now go to this one, go to Generation 4, where putting your hoof down as an example, Fluttershy chews Pinkie Pie and Rarity out. I mean, she absolutely destroys them. This is why I love that episode so much. She absolutely destroys Rarity and Pinkie Pie. But it's believable. It's real. And hot damn was that pain there. Not only from their perspective, yeah, Mr. Ben, that's a good way of putting it. The crystal will feel good. But like I said, the pain was there for both them and me. And hot dog, was that an awesome scene. But here's where I love this, what my concept I'm trying to portray here. Fluttershy realizes what she did. She probably takes a bit of a passive-aggressive way of dealing with it. Or, no, not a passive-aggressive. She takes a strange way of dealing with it. She seals herself in her house so that she can't be a burden on society. Or, she can't be the monster she's become in that world. But Pinkie and Rarity do the most extraordinary thing that I don't see in this world, and it needs to be seen more, folks. They not only forgive her, they try to contact her again. I love okay, Mr. Ben, I think okay, I'll still take that. But the point I'm trying to make is they do Pinky and Rarity do the one thing that needs to be done in this world more often. They forgive her. They forgive Fluttershy. That's an extraordinarily adult topic. Something that, while it's extraordinarily adult, I mentioned, it's something that everyone, even the kids, can and should learn. And here's the thing, not one thing about that scene do I think they sanitized. Did they clean? Did they mess up? And I absolutely applaud them for that. I still to this day applaud them for that scene because of how believable it is. Yet they do the one extraordinary thing, Rarity and Pinkie Pie, that needs to be seen more. Forgiveness. And this kind of leads to a good segue to the stories and the episodes themselves. I'm just going to say it right now, folks. This show does not insult its audience's intelligence. Mind you, that's because they were, I think all of these, well, I know there's going to be someone out there who's going to say, Gilda could be another great topic to talk about, but for some reason I'm getting calls. Forgive me, folks. But let's compare. We can compare Gilda and Fluttershy or Flutter Monster. That's what I like to call her, Flutter Monster in episode 19 versus some use Flutter Bitch or Flutter Rye. But Flutter Rye was for Discord when she was discorded, and Flutter Bitch is more for the episode 26 where she doesn't really even hurt anyone. But I digress. Point I'm trying to make is one of the things that I absolutely love about all of these stories and episodes, not once have I ever felt my intelligence insulted. Like I was being talked down to or Flutter Rage. I forget about that one. How could I? Where was it? Oh, yeah. I know some people are going to disagree with me on that. To each their own. But even, especially for the early episodes, I find that extra impressive. I give a lot of bonus points to the writers and creators. Because, I was even pretty lenient when I started watching this. I said, getting down the list. They have yet to really find their, just trying to find their niche. They're trying to, back then the Brony community was just just starting out. But even there, I was still very impressed by how they treated its audience, whether it be the target. Now my tongue's going. They treated their target audience, and yeah, I know they said parents as well, but I'm still going to say they'll count. Is it any reason that this show caught on? Because there's a lot of kids show programming out there that I can name, post-movie SpongeBob, where you'll watch it and you just go, ow, ow, ow. My intelligence. I stupid feel. And as the show's been going further and further, in my humble opinion, they still have yet to insult my intelligence. Yeah, some things might be a little cheesy or a little corny or embarrassing or hard to look at, whatever you prefer to say. But still, for a show aimed where its target audience is, to not insult an older kid or adult, to not insult my intelligence, someone has to be a smart cookie writing these things. And another thing that I want to note about, not insulting our intelligence is that these lessons are actually good ones to know. Like I said earlier, forgiveness, that's a good one to learn. Acceptance, tolerance. If anything, what I like about season 2, episode 16, Read 'em and Weep, is, the one Dash says, don't knock something, or, don't hate it before you get to know it or try it. Yeah, Mr. Ben, if they're going to be putting lessons in there, it's nice that they can be applied. I can't think of a show that doesn't in some way, shape, or form that if they give lessons, or if it's a slice of life or a lesson type thing, where they at least don't give some decent ones. But again, it's kind of the mark of why the show is so good, is that each lesson is the stories itself, they're presented clearly. Let's ignore a synopsis let's ignore any synopsis, spoilers, and pre-episode spoilers. But just looking at them alone, space whales. No, they're star whales. Anyway, every episode is, given something. No. Star whales are from Doctor Who. Anyway, each episode is, even if you hate it, I still give credit that it's presented the way that they do. We're given, the dilemma. They try to find a solution. They find a or some solutions. And each lesson presented is clear. It's clear. It follows it, and it, bonus points here, it's not shoehorned in. Not one lesson have I watched has ever felt forced. And there are plenty of instances where that could have happened, and yet they didn't. They said, or they wrote that, well, what they asked for is what we got. And to be fair, some episodes can have multiple interpretations as to the lesson, but I digress. And even there, that can be half the fun. Is they give you the lesson they wish to teach, but well, you have to understand, Mr. Ben, that while AJ herself didn't learn anything, that doesn't mean someone else didn't. But anyway, the point being that. And one of the things that I just want to note about the episodes themselves on again, I don't think I can stress enough that I love the writing of this show. There's most of these episodes, they might be a little archetypical, but what I like is how there's usually some little quirk, change, or whatnot that just gives it an edge. It just makes it feel so, it gives it its own unique twist to it. And I'm trying to think of an example here. Let me think. Episode 19. Season 1, episode 19. No, I won't use that one. I'm sorry. Okay, I think I have to use it, folks. And this is going to give away a lot of why I like episode 19 so much, and it's going to really kind of be pointless as to why I'm going to review it. But in season 1, episode 19, one of the things that I really liked about it, and this, like I said, this goes to why I like the writing when they do these very little tweaks, these very little twists to a story, but they somehow make it work. When Rarity's down in that pit and she's whining and driving the Diamond Dogs mad, one of the things that I really loved about the end of that episode was when she said, I had them wrapped around my hoof the entire time. That she was in control of it all the time. I would have never expected that from her character type. And more importantly, the sole fact that she had it, that was her whole plan the whole time. My word, I did not see that one coming. Or how about season 2, episode 5, The Sisterhood Social, when they had Sweetie Belle run with Applejack, and then Rarity and AJ switched in the mud pit. We knew Rarity was trying to make amends with Sweetie Belle, but to do it that subtly, I did not see that one coming. And yes, I love it when a show surprises me. Sure, there are some things that I know will happen, like, none of the characters from this show are going to be written off, or no one's going to die, as it should. But some of the stuff like this, yeah, the blue eyes, when I first saw that episode, Mr. Ben, I was a little offset. It's like, doesn't AJ have green eyes? Whatever, carry on. And then, yeah, the big reveal, and it's like, that was about my face. It was just, but anyway, like I said, I know there are some things that they can't do, like kill a character off or write them out, but it's little things like that that really tell me there's whoever's writing, the writing staff behind this episode has talent. They know exactly what they're doing, and I absolutely applaud them for that. And of course, though, what is the show itself without just looking at it on the surface, i.e., just from a technical standpoint? Let's look at this. Be aware that this show is made using Flash animation. Now, anyone who's seen maybe some Flash animation beforehand, whether it be an actual show that's shown nowadays, or a couple years ago, or even some Flash animation on say DeviantArt or something, anyone who's seen that knows that this program isn't exactly easy to get your animation in. I've worked a little bit with Flash before. It was a computer writing or a computer webmaster certificate I was working on a couple of years ago. And let me put it this way. Flash it wasn't easy. It was kind of fun to create it, but certainly it wasn't easy. I'll tell you that much. Maybe I know that's just me, but I do have to give credit to the animators. For you guys to be able to work with that thing like you guys do, let me back up. To work with that program, to just create something, that's impressive. To create what you've created, this show, you've got talent. Real talent. Sure, there's going to be the occasional animation error. No, not derpy type, but we're talking, I don't know. Look at season 1, episode 2, when they're all looking at the trees. Check out Rarity's eyes. But still, those are inherent to the system. To still give us this quality of animation in a program like that, and especially, like I said, considering what I've seen with other Flash animations, That's talent. And then to top it off, look at the 3D rendition they did in season 2, episode 19. Sure, it only lasted for about a second, but that's really impressive to pull off. It really is. So, good job on your end. And with that, that's about all I really have to say about the show. There's a reason it works. There really is. I just wish I knew what to say at this point, folks. I like to think that somehow, some way, everything just finally came together. For once in what I've seen, in terms of, yeah, especially what you're saying there, Mr. Ben. Let's ignore. No, I can't say that. What do I want to say? Kind of what you're saying here. Everything is blended so well together. We've got incredible animation, strong storytelling, a cast of characters that are just an absolute joy to look at, from my opinion. They're an absolute joy to be with. In a world completely believable yet happy. Written by people who have talent, spoken by people who watch the latest episode. We're given, like I said, by writers who can write, actors who can act, well, unless you want to count background ponies. By the way, I was thinking of doing a special on background ponies one of these days too. We're given all of these on the show's end, and now we are given a we've been shown a fan base that not only just loves the show itself, but as I stated before, it loves them, or the fans love one another. And look at what happens, what we're getting here. A very, very wonderful event. I don't even think this is just, you don't even have to chalk it up in terms of just the show going down in animation history or the Brony fan base being a part of history. These two are, dare I say it, folks, that they're one and the same? No, maybe not one and the same, but maybe more along the lines of they are different. But what I am trying to say is that it's something extraordinary, something completely, something that we may never see again for many years to come. And that's all I have to say about that. So, that is my show, folks. For all of you who are just rewatching this, or this is your first time watching it, I hope you join us live next time. For those of you who came, which is just Mr. Ben this time around, thank you for showing up. I'd like to thank him for being always being there, always being a hand. And don't forget, next week is normal, but the weeks after that are going to be hectic. Still have yet to decide what we're going to talk about. And with that, I believe that is all I really have to say. Tune in next time. I hope you join us. Take care.